Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome to another week of Awaken and Align. So it is me again because I really wanted to share this with all of you. It's the 12 universal laws that have really helped me in the last 3 years of my journey, of my growth. And because Mercury is trining the nodes, and if you have no idea what this means, it's okay. It just means that Mercury in my third house of communication is in a harmonious aspect to the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius, which just means that it's a perfect day for me personally to communicate all of the knowledge and the wisdom that I've learned and that I wanted to share with you. And I've prepared this slideshow. So if you want to see the visual format, I'm going to upload it to my YouTube channel so you could actually have a visual of what I'm talking about. But in the podcast format, I will try to be as descriptive as I can with just reading everything and explaining everything. But I first wanted to begin by saying knowledge is different than wisdom. Knowledge is something that we learn through reading a book, we learn through school, we learn through memorization, and we learn through watching a documentary. But wisdom is something that can only be gained through experience. It's only something that as human beings we've gone through in our lives. And I believe our souls are infinite beings, infinite energy. It is not created nor destroyed. It's not doesn't die, it's not reborn. And that part of us has been traveling through earth and maybe different spaces and times and has an innate wisdom that came into this earth with. And our job is to somehow tap into that wisdom and somehow awaken that wisdom within. And that's why I believe we have all of these spiritual practices like meditation and different forms of yoga and Buddhism and all of these different spiritual practices, I believe, is to remember that inner wisdom within and to remember the truth that there is only one truth, that there is really at the heart of everything, that we are all part of this divine oneness, this divine energy source. And I hope to explain more of that in an energetic way, because I feel that a lot of people get bogged down by the religious meanings of things. And when I talk about Jesus or Mary or Buddha or any of these ascended masters, a lot of people kind of cringe and always relate it back to the dogmatic way of believing through religion. And I really want to try to bridge all of it together through spirituality, energetics, and science so that it is accessible to everybody. And really, when I first learned about the 12 universal laws, it really helped me to do that because it came from an energetic perspective and just seeing everything through the lens of nature, of through the natural ways of life. And it really helped me to strip away and reset my mind from all of the religious beliefs that I was raised with. And also all of the societal and cultural laws and traditions and contracts that we've been raised in, really, and that we still kind of agree to and that we kind of go with even to this day. So I was definitely doing a lot of, reprogramming my mind and resetting new neural pathways and kind of looking at life in a different way. And these 12 universal laws really helped me to do that. And I know this is something that I've been wanting to talk about since I started this podcast. And I finally got my shit together and created this very comprehensive way of talking about this. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I hope it doesn't take up so much time, but there is a lot to go through. So you can listen to this in parts or watch the YouTube video to watch in parts. But I really am so excited about this because I feel like I literally feel like I'm that nerd that's like, look at my PowerPoint presentation. So without further ado, here we go. And please be patient with me because I always fumble around with this share screen. So here we go on this journey. Okay, it's already stuck. Okay. So what are the universal laws? The law of attraction is just one of the 12 universal laws, and getting familiar with the other 11 can help us unlock a more spiritually aligned life. The 12 universal laws are thought to be intrinsic, unchanging laws of our universe that ancient cultures have always intuitively known. Quantum physics. Einstein's theory of relativity shows us that atomic energy vibrates at different rates. His equation, E equals mc squared, proved that energy and matter are the same. Everything in the universe vibrates at different frequencies. The same energy that exists all over the universe exists within us. Energy, therefore, is at the basis of all physical reality. And I just posted a quote by Albert Einstein on my Instagram yesterday because he is like, him and Nikola Tesla really, really helped me to understand life and this world in such a different way. I highly recommend you looking up their work and all the quotes that they share. We live in a unified field where all possibilities, all realities, and timelines exist. Knowing this, you can shift your reality to the one you want to experience through harnessing your own energy, focused thought, and working with these universal laws. You have your own unique frequency that you were born with. And you know, you've heard me say this time and time again. Each atom that makes up our physical bodies is vibrating at a specific frequency. Our cells communicate with each other in tiny impulses, biophotons, tiny sparks of light energy carried inside our bodies. This energy is light and is always moving both within and around our physical beings. But it is too difficult for us to perceive these different vibrations with our human senses. Our eyes can only see, quote, see 0.0035% of the electromagnetic spectrum. And I also shared this on my TikTok. We see the colors of the rainbow. So the highest frequency we see is violet, and the shortest frequency is, or the lower frequency is red. And lower and higher does not mean good or bad. It just means the waves are moving slower or higher. That's why we can attune to higher perceptions of consciousness, like our intuition. When we remember that we are made of the same energy as everything in the universe, it gives us the power to attract the infinite possibilities in our life. So if we remember that everything is energy, and that's it, that's literally what we have to remember, it gives us the power to move beyond physical matter. It gives us the power to attract things based on energetic frequency, based on feeling the thing first. And this isn't how we were all taught. We were always taught to work hard, make an effort. And we will talk about why that's important as well, why you need to take action. But we were never taught to first feel. We were taught to think. We were taught to be logical about things. And I'm inviting us to think of things in a different way, to try things in a different way. So you have the power within, and this is something that every person says. This is something that every coach, spiritual teacher, I've even said this, but I never understood what this actually meant because I never knew what it meant. Like I never knew the actual power that we have inside, both as energetic beings and as these divine beings. But knowing this, and hopefully by the end of this, you will remember your own power, your own divinity, that our destiny is really controlled by our consciousness, our conscious and unconscious thoughts and feelings. We have the power as human beings to manifest into reality any potential future that we choose to attract. The power lies within our own minds and with the universal mind in all its potentiality. So that's why I believe our reality is created through our conscious and unconscious thoughts and feelings. And what I've learned throughout all of my learnings from many, many different modalities is that our subconscious or our unconscious make up 95% of our beliefs, and they are just neutral. What we feed that is through our conscious mind, is the mind that's speaking to you today, is the mind that's awake during the day. But if we can continually feed our minds with thoughts and feelings that we want to experience, then that is how we create our reality. And I'm sorry, I did want to make a distinction that we are sentient beings and we can't necessarily control our feelings, because feelings are all valid, and feelings is how we navigate through this world. I think of feelings and our emotions as just energy in motion. They are our GPS system. So it's an indicator for us of what we're thinking and what needs to be healed or what we're going through. And I think a lot of times people are afraid to tune into their emotions or feelings because they believe they're going to be depressed for like days on end or months on end. And if that's the case, then that's okay too. But a lot of the times these emotions and feelings are waves. They're just waves of energy, kind of like the ocean. They go in and they go out. So you feel the emotion of sadness, and you just have to trust that it's there for you to feel and express and be moved through you, and that it will move out again. So we're going to dive deeper into these things, but I just wanted to point out that our feelings are dictated by our thoughts. That's another key thing to think about. So another thing is, back like last year, I said in one of my videos, I don't remember, or one of my podcast episodes, that I don't love the word manifesting. First, because manifesting gives me this impression that you're getting something out of nowhere, like you're getting, which implies lack. And manifesting is something that's like so far out of the reach. But you have to understand that you are manifesting now. You're manifesting your reality every day, all day, every day, every minute of the day, by the thoughts and feelings that you choose. So the law of attraction is about matching energetic frequencies to attract the things we desire into our experience. It is based on the idea that like attracts like, but you can also repel. Whatever you are focused on grows, be it good or bad, negative or positive. So you have to understand that you're manifesting right now, and not to give you shame or guilt over like the life that you have now, but a part of this process is being very honest with yourself that your physical reality is a literal manifestations of your beliefs and your perceptions. So instead of feeling bad about it, which I felt for a really long time, I was like, fuck, I manifested this life. Instead of seeing it that way, just know that now, since you know, and now that you have awareness around it, that you have the power to take ownership of your life, and to have the onus be on you. That whatever you're feeling and whatever you're thinking, you can take the captainship of your own reality, of your own life. So don't take this as like feeling bad about your situation, or feeling like, yeah, you brought this in on yourself. No, that's not what I'm trying to say, but I'm just giving you the power to say that whatever you are experiencing in your physical reality should give you a good indication of where you're at. So with that being said, you might be asking yourself then, like, why don't I have the thing, or why don't I have the person? Maybe you need to incorporate the other 11 universal laws into your life. And also just remember, and we'll get deeper into this as well, that there is a divine time for everything, and that not everything that you want is going to be laid out for you in the timeline that you want, because this is a co-creation. That's why my tagline in my Instagram says, co-create your dream life. And I don't put this in there, but with the divine presence, with source, because this is a partnership that you're doing with spirit. This is like you're listening to how spirit wants to move through you. And to be honest with you, it's really the timing and the how is not up to you. That's just for spirit to unfold for you. You have to do what you're meant to do in the way that you want to do it in this physical reality. And the timing is where you have to practice being patient and having fun along the way. Because if you listen to my last podcast episode, this whole illusion, this whole Maya, this whole 3D reality is like a game that we play, that we are the observer of our thoughts, we are the observer of our emotions, and we get to choose to have fun. And this is what I tell people all the time. Life is not meant to be of suffering. Life is not meant to be sad or depressed or struggling. Life is meant to be savored, enjoyed, have fun, laugh, love, be healthy, be wealthy, have all the things that you want to do. And I'm talking to all of us who have access to Wi-Fi, who have access to a phone and a computer where you're listening to me right now. And I'm not talking about people who are really going through some terrible shit right now in terms of like genocide and warfare and people who are severely, severely in poverty. I'm not talking about those people who are literally going through some shit right now. And I can't explain that through any universal law, because I can't see that with my human perception. I'm talking to all of us who have our basic needs met. And it's just about shifting our perception and shifting our beliefs into the reality that we want to experience. And we're moving away from this experience of lack and needing to get and needing to fucking manifest everything. And believe me, like, I believe in manifestation, but I'm trying to move away from those words and to get you to understand what it's really about. It's not about getting, it's about believing that you already have everything inside of you, believing that you are whole, believing that everything is provided for, believing that universe, spirit, God, the divine goddess already has everything for you at your fingertips, and that they want you to be more successful than you do for yourself. They want you to feel love. They want you to feel happiness. They want you to feel abundance so much more than you do. And that is the unconditional love that everyone wants to feel. Everyone wants to feel this feeling of connectedness, of wholeness, and that no matter what happens in life, no matter what storm or what shitstorm comes, that you feel so connected, so good, so like unwavering in your faith that you can get through anything in life. That's what we all truly want more than anything. And I think in 2021, we're living in a time where, and the Aquarian age and this air age of information and sharing wisdom, that we're moving away from taking away resources from our Mother Earth and from just buying shit that we don't need and taking up resources and taking advantage of her, and really, really tuning back into the fact that we have all of the things that we need inside. And now it's time to give back to Mother Earth and to give back to each other and to feel that true fulfillment of life that's beyond material things. It's emotional fulfillment. It's feeling the things that you want to feel without seeing the physical representation, the manifestations of them yet. Okay, without further ado, here we go. The first one is the Law of Divine Oneness. And the reason why this is number one is because this is the most important foundational law. So the Law of Divine Oneness is the foundational law according to which absolutely everything in our universe is interconnected. In other words, every choice, word, desire, and belief you have will also have an impact on the world and on the people in your life. This oneness or source from which everything emanates is an internal and unchanging unified field of intelligence underlying everything and permeating the whole of creation. Some call it love, God, divine, the universe, life force energy, or universal consciousness. Now, I've told this story before on one of my podcasts, but the first time I took a psychedelic drug was in 2018 in Byron Bay, and I did it in a very, very safe container. And the first thing and the main message from that experience was that we are a part of everything. Our energy is a part of the stars, the cosmos, this earth, this cup of tea, of each other. We have a unified mind, and we are all a part of each other. And that could be a hard pill to swallow, because there are many people in this world that we view as bad or evil, or that are unsavory to us in some way, but in fact they are a part of us, and that we are all a part of each other. And this is something that's really hard for me to grasp sometimes, like when number 45 was president of our country, and I was like, how am I possibly at one with that guy? But I'm not saying that you'll fully understand these laws, especially the law of oneness, but just knowing that we are a part of Mother Earth, we are a part of each other, and we are all connected in some way. And that was the main message that I got from that first experience with those psychedelics, and which anybody, if you've ever talked to, when they go through those like enlightenment stages or of higher perceptions of consciousness, that's the same feeling they get. And so knowing that will help you understand that whatever you do unto others, you do to yourself, and we'll get through those laws as well. But I just wanted to give you some examples. So the Big Bang Theory, we are all made of stardust, which was a famous quote by Carl Sagan. The Big Bang Theory in science is basically, and I'm going to butcher this because I haven't read about it in a really long time, but a long, long time ago, like millions and hundreds of millions of years ago, there was an explosion of energy. And even to this day, our universe is expanding, and it will never stop expanding. And so with that, everything was created from this one big bang, this one explosion of energy, which is like kind of also related to, you know, if you think about the biblical story of Adam and Eve, and how the Bible talks about how every man and woman and everybody in between came from Adam and Eve. And in different systems of religious and spiritual beliefs, like yoga, which in Sanskrit means union or connection, the word yoga is used to signify any form of connection. Yoga is both a state of connection and a body of techniques that allow us to connect to anything. So a lot of people in the like Western modern societies like America think of yoga as just the asanas, as just like the exercises. But actually yoga is the asanas is only one limb of yoga. There's 8 limbs of yoga. And the practice of the asanas, when you do, you know, downward dog and you do the sun salutations, is actually opening up your energy body, your physical body, in order for you to sit longer in meditation, for you to connect to this union, for you to connect to this universal source of energy. And I love this quote by Rumi, who was a Sufi poet, my favorite poet. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. And I love this because each drop in the ocean is individual in its own right. So I am a unique being, you are a unique being, we are all here to express our uniqueness. But when we are all together in the entire ocean, we're all just an ocean. We're all just one ocean with one consciousness. So if you want to think about this in terms of like, we're all one body of ocean, we all have one unified mind, we are all part of one, but each of us are a drop of that same ocean. That's how interconnected we are. And in Taoism, the law of oneness is also known as the concept of Tao. Okay, I hope I explained this to the best of my ability, because as a human being where, you know, most of us are ruled by our ego, by our separateness of everybody, it's hard to even fathom that we are a part of each other. But if you find the example of nature, which I love using nature as an example, that we are nature, like all of the elements are within us. We were born, under these cosmic tides of the planets. And, I love astrology. So you weren't here by accident. You came here in a very specific time to express your own specific, unique expression. But again, we are all a part of a collective mind, a collective consciousness. Woo! The second one is the law of vibration. The law of vibration states that anything that exists in our universe, whether seen or unseen, broken down into and analyzed in its purest and most basic form, consists of pure energy or light, which resonates and exists as a vibratory frequency or pattern. All matter, thoughts, and feelings have its own vibrational frequency. I need to take a sip of my tea. Excuse me for 1 second. So I actually believe that the law of vibration is more understandable than the law of attraction, because everyone knows about the law of attraction. The first movie I saw about this was in 2008 when The Secret came out, and The Secret had this projection of, and let me know if you felt the same way, that you can just like think of amazing thoughts and you can just think of your dream and that it would appear out of nowhere. But we all know now that that just doesn't happen that way, that there's many different things involved when we are trying to create the life of our highest timeline, of our highest expression. And I believe the law of vibration, just being an energy healer myself, is the most powerful to understand, because everything in our universe has a frequency, has a vibration. And when you know that, then you can know how to tune yourself into the vibration of the thing that you want to attract. So everything is energy. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions create your vibration. When you change your vibration, everything changes. So just think of a radio signal, and I'm sure a lot of you listening to this are too old to remember an actual radio dial when you tuned in. So back in the day, you would have to tune a radio and find the right signal. So here in New York, I used to listen to 100.3, which is Z100, and you would have to turn the dial to get onto that frequency. Or a Wi-Fi signal. If you want to hop onto someone's Wi-Fi signal, you need to find their, I guess, host or username, and you have to like get on their signal. It's the same thing with vibration. If you want to attract, let's say, the love of your life, then you need to get on that vibration. You need to get on that frequency. You need to get on the same wavelength. And we will talk about more about how to get there, but I just wanted to give you the background of like how everything actually works. Everything is energy, and that is all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. Albert Einstein, and this is the quote that I posted on my Instagram. So when you get onto the frequency of what you want, it is a universal law. You have to get it. And that's what's so refreshing about these universal laws and the laws of energy, is like, that's it. It has to be that way because it is a universal law. Like there's nobody telling you have to like go to college and earn this degree or X, Y, and Z, like all those like bullshit laws that we grew up with. Energy is just energy, and you can't argue with it. You can't deny it. It is what it is. So the number 3 is the law of correspondence. The key idea here is that patterns repeat throughout the universe. and that prominent patterns can also be found repeating on a very small scale. For example, think of the popular example of the spiral pattern that reappears in a huge number of places in the galaxy. Look for patterns in your own life and in your thinking and notice how they repeat elsewhere in the world. As you do so, consider the kind of pattern changes you might be able to make and how those will create change on a larger scale. So a lot of you know that my energy teacher and healer, Sheetal Rajan, who teaches sacred geometry, her basic teaching is that there are geometric patterns and frequencies all throughout nature, everywhere. The same, she taught us this, like when you do this like Fibonacci sequence is the same as the galaxies, it's the same on the top of a baby's head. These patterns repeat everywhere. And the best quote to describe the law of correspondence is as above, so below, as within, so without. What this means is that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. And this really goes with what I was saying in the beginning, is that everything begins within you. And all of these laws go well with each other, and they all are interconnected, because when you understand that there are certain patterns within your life, within yourself, then you have the power to change that pattern to have the effect in the outer world that you want. So for example, I've spoken a lot about this. My actual healing journey came about because I started dating and I was attracting a lot of the same kind of guys. And I took a step back and I was like, the common thread here is me. I'm definitely attracting a certain kind of person because of something within me that I'm so oblivious to, because it is in my subconscious mind. And again, we all have blind spots, which is why you have to be very aware of your patterns and just being aware of what you're attracting and your external world, because that will give you an idea of what you need to heal or look into in your internal world. So I was attracting the same kind of guy because there was something within me that needed to heal from the past, and something that I was bringing forth with me into this reality that I didn't want to experience, right? But I'm never going to fix that until I look within. Very powerful law, by the way. So this is the law that everybody is aware of, the law of attraction. And as you already know, it talks about like attracts like. So in order to have the things you desire in life, you have to work out how to vibrate on the same frequency as these things. The more general lesson here is that being positive, proactive, and loving attracts more of the same into your life. Meanwhile, pessimism, fear, and lethargy will lead you to generate more negative experience in all areas of your life. Now, again, we can't control our emotions because our emotions are who we are. We're sentient beings. But knowing this, and this is all information for us to just be aware of so that we have the choice, because we're all free beings. We all have free will. We're all sovereign beings. I'm using that term, sovereignty, because when you're going through those times of pessimism and fear and lethargy, you can choose to stay in that state or you can choose a different way. So just being aware that everything in this universe works as either you're attracting, like you're a magnet, or you're repelling. So if you want love in your life, but you're constantly like, there's no good guys out there and men suck, men are disgusting, I hate men, then you're literally repelling that for which you want. And if you constantly say like, I want love in my life and I want, to find my soulmate, but if in your belly and if in your being you don't believe that's possible, then you're not going to attract the thing that you want, because you have to, again, vibrate at the same frequency. So if you want to attract the thing, you have to literally become the thing. So if you want to have love, you have to be love, you have to give love. And we're going to talk about more of these because they're going to be explained in depth in other laws. But this is something that I find very, 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 what's the right word? Like, important when we're attracting the person that we want to attract, our soulmate, our divine partner, our person, is we've been socialized, especially as women, to just want to marry the guy, right? We just want to have somebody complete us, for somebody to save us, for somebody to um be there so that we fill some kind of like void, or we fill some kind of box. But this is what I keep trying to tell people, is that you have to be at union with yourself first. You have to understand who you are, what you love. You have to love yourself, because you will attract somebody from that space, not from a space of lack, not from a space of void, not from a place of codependency or lack or unworthiness. You want to attract your highest divine partner, right? And so if you want to attract somebody who's going to be committed to you, who loves you unconditionally, who wants to be a life partner with you, then you need to show up for yourself in that way. You need to find that within yourself. And again, not to shame anybody who decides to marry early in life. Maybe you found your partner early in life. We all are on our own journey. But I just find it interesting that so many people, like, especially in their Saturn return, so between the ages of 29 and 31, like, that's what they do because that's what they are supposed to do, quote unquote. But I believe what we're supposed to do, what should be the focus, is actually to become in union with ourselves, to merge with our own soul. And in the tarot, that's really what the Two of Cups is. The Two of Cups, which is normally seen as a soulmate card, is that we merge with our own soul, and that's when we attract our divine counterpart, the person who's meant for us, because we have met ourselves, and so we attract that mirror. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox now, but I just wanted to like really put that into our consciousness, because I think that love in this 2021, in this new age, needs to be redefined as more than just like, you are here to do something for me, you are here to fill some kind of void. And for me personally, it was like these limiting beliefs of like daddy issues and stuff. But now I'm coming from a place of like, I'm good, babe. Like, I know who I am. I know what I want. I love myself. I feel worthiness, and I want to attract somebody from that space. So, this is actually from Tony Robbins, and all of this information that I'm presenting here, I found on the Law of Attraction website. So, it's all available on their interwebs. But I went to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within in 2019, and he spoke a lot about energy. And I think the whole thing is actually about energy, if I'm being honest with you. But his famous quote is, "Where focus goes, energy flows." And he talks about these 6 steps to the law of attraction. The first one is desire, having an unshakable desire for the thing that you want. Number 2, imagination. And I consider imagination to be our most important skill as human beings. And I don't know, like, for some of you, maybe you lost that when you were growing up, but I remember growing up, people being like, Laura, you daydream too much, or you're such a dreamer. And I don't know. I was like, what's wrong with that? God gave me this imagination. God gave me the ability to go into different spaces, and I'm a super visual person. So like, that's why I'm able to manifest, because I can let my mind go there. So why not, right? Number 3 is affirmations. And I do affirmations all day, every day. I constantly remind myself that I am safe, I am secure, I am abundant, I am wealthy, I am a rich bitch. Like, anything that you need to tell yourself to remind yourself of who you are and what you are becoming, very powerful practice. Focus. Again, where your focus goes, energy flows. If you focus so much on your past, you're going to keep repeating the past. If you focus too much on your future, then you're going to have this anxiety of like, oh my God, where is it? What's coming next? And blah, 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 blah. The focus really is like being in the present moment and focusing your intentions on how you can take daily actions in the moment to moment day and making moment to moment decisions that will ultimately create your future. But I mean, we won't get into this whole thing, but the concept of time isn't real. But as egoic people living in this 3D world, we've created time to make sense of this world. And we won't get into that, but what also freed my mind is that we don't live in a linear timeline, that the past, present, and future are all happening at once. So with that, like, there is no too late, or there's no such thing as regrets, really. It's just all about learning and experiencing. And what I've mentioned in the beginning about wisdom, you're only going to know and you're only going to gain wisdom through experiences, through doing. And as humans on this 3D physical reality, we bridge the gap between what we want and how we manifest it through action. Okay. Number 5 is belief. Our entire reality and our entire universe that we currently live in is based on our beliefs and what we believe we're worth, what we believe we deserve, and what we believe can be true for us. And I really do think that this is so like synchronistic that the North Node is in Gemini and the South Node is in Sagittarius at a collective level until the end of 2021, because Gemini is asking us to see things in a different way, to find different ways of thinking, different belief systems. And the South Node being in Sagittarius, where Sagittarius is like the old wisdom and the old beliefs, old religion. And it's like breaking away and releasing what we thought we knew and really bringing in these new beliefs. And that's why I felt very, very called to share this week, because I feel all of this expansive energy coming in March. And astrologically, March is just this magical time, and this is my birthday month. So I just feel all the time that March is actually the energetic new year. It starts in Aries season at the beginning of spring, because that's when the sun comes back. That's when there's more light than dark. And I truly believe that this is our chance to let go of what we thought we knew, and just letting go of thinking that we know anything at all, and just starting fresh and just resetting our minds and trying to see things in a different perspective. And that's very Aquarian energy. And the last one is gratitude. Now, I also wrote in that post on my Instagram, so make sure to check it out, that the fastest way to attract and to align ourselves to the frequency of what we want is to feel gratitude for it now. And I know your subconscious mind and your conscious mind are going to fight you, because it's going to be like, well, it's not here yet, Laura. It's not in the physical reality yet. And that's the work. That is actually the work you need to do, is whatever it takes for you to feel that now. Through gratitude, you can actually feel that feeling, that emotional fulfillment, that joy, that love in this moment. And what I've recognized throughout my life, and this is wisdom coming through, is that when I achieved all of the external 3D things that everyone says that will make you happy and that makes a successful life. So for example, making a lot of money, having an apartment overlooking Central Park, having a Hamptons house, having a rich boyfriend, having all the things, I thought that I would be happy and I would have all that emotional fulfillment, which I did. A lot of it was so beautiful, so amazing, and I couldn't believe I achieved all of that. But at the same time, it didn't make me feel the emotional fulfillment that I thought I would get, because they were all physical things, and physical things is very temporary. What I didn't know at the time was that what I really wanted was emotional fulfillment, like truly being in my purpose, truly living in alignment with my calling, truly serving humanity. Like right now, I have so much energy because I'm speaking about things that I believe matter and that can actually help people's lives. And I'm not even getting paid for this. And that's when I know that this energy transmission that is going through technology and through space and time, that I just really want to be of service to people, because that is my dharma, that's my path. Like I want everybody to live this aligned life of this knowing something deeper within ourselves, this inner wisdom that we all have, that we just have to remember. Whew. Okay, so with that being said, the last thing I'll say about the law of attraction is another quote by Tony Robbins. Mirror neurons occurs when we observe somebody doing something and our brains mirror them so that we feel like we are also doing the same thing. If we surround ourselves with successful people and positivity, our brains will mirror them, cultivating positive habits and success in our lives. And this is why it's so important to surround yourself with people and communities and spaces where that's the reality you want to live. And I always talk about Jim Rohn's quote, let me think about this. You are the 5 people you surround yourself with, because again, mirror neurons is like when you surround yourself with positive people, when you surround yourself with people who are taking action on their dreams, people who believe that there's like more to this life than just clocking in and clocking out, sleep, work, repeat, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But if you're listening to this, I know that's not you, then you will automatically want to do that for yourself. You will automatically want to cultivate those habits for yourself. And I can attest to that, because every time I've wanted to shift something in my reality into my life, I've somehow attracted friends who are always in that specific life shift of my life. Like that's why I've had so many different kinds of friends. I had friends who were in the travel blogging space because that's what I wanted to do for a while. I had friends who were more in the food blogging space. I had friends who were super entrepreneurial, and now I'm more in the space where like it doesn't really matter to me what my friends do or my communities do, just as long as they have this growth mindset, that they have a basis of love for humanity and wanting to make this world a better place. So I highly suggest for you, after listening to this, to just look around in your surroundings and like not like cut people out or just like be like, bye, I'm not being your friend anymore, but just take a survey of the people in your life and ask yourself, are these people supporting my dreams? Are these people elevating me to where I want to be? And if not, then maybe you want to insert yourself into communities or spaces where people are going to support you. And I don't know where I would be without my support system. My friends who, I tell them some of my ideas and they're not like, Laura, do you really think that's a good idea? Laura, I don't know. That seems kind of crazy. My friends are like, think bigger, Laura. The world needs to hear from you. Like they are my cheerleaders, and I'm so grateful for them um because I really, yeah, I'm still in my ego. I'm still human. Like I need that validation, and it feels good. Okay, I need a sip of tea because I'm talking a lot. Oh my goodness. How are y'all doing over here? Okay. Number 5, the law of inspired action. The law of inspired action must be employed in order for us to manifest things on earth. We must engage in actions that support our thoughts, dreams, emotions, and words. The law of action states that you must do the things and perform the actions necessary to achieve what you are setting out to do. And this is what I was talking about, where like when I first watched The Secret, they made it seem like you can just focus on the mailbox and having these big checks come and then it'll come. And now I hope we all know that that's not the case, that we actually have to take action. And I see this in like two different ways. First, action is required for you to be closer in alignment to what you want. And second, it's your affirmation, it's your like agreement with the universe and to spirit that you are participating in your co-creation. So if you're just sitting back and watching Netflix and eating bonbons and just expecting like the love of your life to come through your door, or the opportunities to come to your door, I'm sorry to say, but that's not going to happen. Like, you have to take your part in this. You have to be a participant in your dreams, and you have to take steps towards being, having, and doing what you want to be. So the law of attraction requires you to act upon inspired action. So this action part is in conjunction with the law of attraction. In order to get a reaction, you need an action. Action, reaction. You don't just envision, feel, and act as if and expect something to magically fall into your lap. You need to pay attention to your hunches and feelings you get after you do your law of attraction rituals and follow through with action. There's a difference between knowing and being, and the bridge is through action. So how I like to see it is, again, with this co-creation, right? You're not just gonna like take random acts, right? You're not just gonna like follow blindly. You're not just gonna like do and copy what everyone else is doing. What you do is you tune into spirit, and however you do that, through meditation, through yoga, through practice, through walking in nature, through your own rituals. My personal practice is like very long, but it doesn't have to be that way. But I like to journal, I like to meditate, I like to be active and move my body. I pull cards for myself, I read my own records, I go for walks in nature. And this is all for me to connect to spirit, for me to listen to the divine messages, and for me to listen to spirit's guide. And then from that place is where I take action. From those inspired hunches and feelings and listening to my intuition is where I take inspired action. So if I feel like, oh, I should reach out to that person because they're talking about something that I want to interview them for the podcast, that's where I reach out. And there is a time and place when you need to listen more, you need to listen to spirit more versus taking action. And that's all why you listen. You have to listen to your intuition versus like constantly doing. And when I was working in my corporate jobs, it was all about doing. It was all about taking action and action, 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 and never listening to my intuitive side. And I find with a lot of, and this is generalizing, again, not everybody is like this, but a lot of people in the spiritual community that I know are too much in the listening and too much in the feeling and listening, but not taking action on what these inspired actions are, inspired intuitive hits are telling them to do. But you need both. You need both the listening and the doing. And like I said, we are here in this beautiful illusion, this beautiful 3D reality that many sentient beings from like the ethers would love to be here to manifest, because Earth is a planet of manifestation. We get to experience this reality. We get to feel, we get to have all these cool things, right? Like I really believe that we are unique in that way, and that, you know, I believe that there are ETs and aliens who probably have these things too, but as humans, we get to experience this 3D physical reality, and the way we get to bring that into manifestation is through action. Okay. Number 6. So we're halfway through. Yay! Okay, here we go. How are we all doing out there? Is this like a lot of information? Is this like understandable? Have you heard about these laws in your own practice, in your own understanding? I'm drinking Earl Grey tea, which has bergamot, and I really am digging it. I'm trying to drink more tea and less coffee because, as you can see, I don't need that much caffeine to have this much energy, but I love the taste of coffee. Anyway, focus. I digress. Okay. Number 6, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. And I love this law because this law so fully encompasses like what I teach in Reiki and what I help people do is the transmutation of energy. Again, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. That is a law of physics. That is a law of the universe. But how we can move through these energies is transmute them. Everyone has the power within them to change the conditions of their lives. Higher vibrations consume and transform lower ones. Thus, each of us can change the energies in our lives by understanding the universal laws and applying the principles in such a way to affect change. Okay, now I hesitate to even say these things because this sounds very like high vibration and get rid of the low vibration. And that's not what we're really talking about here in a sense. So, lower vibration just means that the vibrations move slower. And so, in physics, in the universal laws, when you transmute the lower vibration, the lower frequencies of, let's say, like grief or sadness or depression, with the higher vibration of unconditional love, it absorbs and transmutes that energy. So for example, if I have a Reiki client who has gone through some grief, has gone through some sadness, the universal um, the universal unconditional love of Reiki energy goes in, which I just channel with focused intention and thought into that area of her energy body. It can transmute that energy of sadness, of grief, and whatever like emotional things that she's going through at this time. So this is a little bit harder to understand if you have not felt it yourself, because it is very conceptual, but it's also something that you feel. But for example, if you are feeling grief, you can channel those emotions artistically and create a painting, song, or poem. I know this sounds like I didn't know what other examples to use, but I know most people don't like do these things on the regular, but I invite you to do them. This is what art therapists do. If you're angry, you could use the energy to exercise so that it moves through your body. Emotions are energy in motion, and they need a way to be expressed through you. Find your favorite ways to create an outlet for the energy to move through. And I say this and I do this so much on my TikTok that I feel like I'm being such a broken record, but last year I did The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and what I really learned from that process is that energy is meant to be felt, meant to move through us, and through art and through creative expression, we can really, really do amazing, beautiful things, because it's just energy at the end of the day, right? Like if I'm feeling angry about a situation, and most of these emotions are rightfully so, right? Like last year with BLM and this year with the Asian violence against Asian people, a lot of this anger is like stored up as well. It's a lot of like ancestral stuff. It's a lot of things that have been passed down through our lineages. And a lot of these emotions, like we don't have the words for, because a lot of these things are just felt in our body. So to move them through our body and to move them through our energy and emotional bodies, we have to find creative outlets for them. So whether it's through the examples I gave, like through art, through sound, through exercising, through hiking, through exercise, any way that feels good to you, I mean, I would definitely do that because we're not meant to hold them in our body. And I love that book, The Body Keeps the Score, because if you keep them suppressed, it's like your body keeps a record of all of the realized emotions that you felt throughout the years. And trust me, your girl had many years, decades of unexpressed emotions in her body that she literally had to move through. And that's why I started TikTok last year, because I was healing, and then the freaking panorama, the grand panini happened, and I was like, how am I supposed to move through all of this shit when I can't go anywhere? I can't do anything. So I just started dancing on TikTok, and I realized like how cathartic it was. And people felt that through my TikTok, and they were feeling it too. So I really do believe in the power of movement and the power of expressing these emotions in your own way. Number 7 is the law of cause and effect. The universal law of cause and effect essentially means that every single action will have an equal and opposite reaction. Oftentimes, this is thought of as the concept of karma. If you do good, good will come. But if you do bad, watch out. This suggests that the universe is in constant motion and is continually progressing from a series of events. This also means that nothing in life simply just happened. It means that everything happens for a reason, even though that reason cannot really be understood, especially during some of our more challenging times. And I've I've definitely, like, throughout my life, have seen karma in action. And I always say this, but karma is the most patient gangsta, and karma never disappoints, because whenever I see and I witness and I observe people doing stupid shit and being harmful and hurtful, they always get it back in some way. And I'm not saying this in like a revengeful or hateful way, because, and this is why I'm trying to tell you this, that you don't have to get revenge. You don't have to be resentful. You don't have to do anything on your part, because karma always comes back, man. It really does. It's really quite interesting to see. So just be very aware of everything you do has a boomerang effect. So Ralph Waldo Emerson called this law the law of laws because it's powerful. You get back what you put out. It's like a boomerang. You throw out and it comes back to you. Yeah, I'm just telling you. Putting the principle into practice, the principle of cause and effect frees us from the burden of the past and the endless cycle of cause and effect. In putting this principle into practice, the important thing is not to focus our consciousness on what has already taken place, not to spend our days worrying about and dreading the effects of our past actions. When we dwell on the negative experiences of the past, we continue to attract more and more negative situations. So again, like, in your own life, if you feel like you've done something maybe not so kosher, maybe not so like aligned to your highest self, then the simple way of correcting that is the Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian ancient prayer of forgiveness. Um, and I did this with a group of people for the 2021 Awaken and Align group. We all did this prayer together, and it was so powerful. It's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I thank you. And you can just literally go through all the scenarios in your life and just offer that prayer of forgiveness. And also knowing that you can leave the past in the past, like whoever did dirty to you, just know that karma, that's not your place to like have vengeance. Or what is that movie with Liam Neeson, where he takes revenge for his daughter, or anything of that sort? Like, you don't have to do that, because just let the universal laws take matters into their own hands, and that's not your job to punish or even though we all want that, right? Trust me, I want that just as much as anybody else. Again, I'm still human. I want that person who did me wrong to have like public shaming. I want that person to suffer, but it's not really up to us, because if we do that onto them, then that's just going to come back to us again, because these laws are the boomerang effect. So just keep that in mind. If you ever feel like you want to punish somebody, I highly suggest not to do that. Okay. Number 8, the law of compensation. According to the law of compensation, you will receive what you put out. This law is similar to the law of attraction, but with the focus on the idea that compensation can come in many forms. Whatever we do, think, or feel would create a level of compensation equal to the deed we perform. We receive exactly what we deserve for the things we do in our lives, big or small. So now that we're at number 8, does this kind of make sense why you can't just employ the law of attraction, but there's so many more things involved and variables involved in being in alignment with your highest timeline, with your highest self? So the law of compensation is important because you get in return what you give. Efforts, contributions, love, joy, hate, resentment, whatever you give, you get. You will get compensated for something, whether positive or negative, it's up to you. You reap what you sow. So if you want love, you got to spread love. If you want happiness, you got to spread happiness. If you want hate, if you spread hate, you will get hate in return. If you spread resentment, you will get resentment in return. You get the point. If you want wealth, you got to spread wealth. So I love this law of compensation because I feel like it's so connected to what we're going through now with Mother Earth and like our earth and the health of our earth, because we've reaped so much from Mother Earth. We've taken her resources, we've drilled, we've taken, and we've polluted, and we've, and again, because we are of this divine oneness, even though I personally didn't do these things, I did do these things because I'm a part of the collective mind. And in some way in my collective mind, I've agreed to do certain things. And trust me, like I was in that mode where I was unaware and I was consuming beyond my means, and I was not aware of the interconnectedness of all of it. But now I'm more aware, so I can make better decisions. So I just keep seeing this statement, like you reap what you sow. So if that's all we've reaped, if that's all we've sowed, then what we reap is what we're getting now, which is all of these like crazy environmental changes, these very extremes in climate and extremes in like, the panorama and the panini last year. I really believe that was reaping what we sowed. Because Mother Earth she doesn't need us. We need her, but she's like purifying it all and being like, fuck all of y'all. Like, I need to purify myself because you fucked me over. So not that, Mother Earth is a hateful mother, but we're going to get into the balance of everything. Like what we reap, what we sow. So like now it's time for us to give back. Now it's time for us to heal. Now it's time for us to heal within us all of the separateness that we feel within ourselves, because ultimately, again, we're all connected, and what we do to each other and what we do to Mother Earth is what we do to ourselves. Sorry, Mother Earth. Number 9, the law of relativity. The law of relativity is all about the neutrality of things when seen in isolation. So, in no particular person, experience, emotion, or action is evaluated as good or bad until you look at it in comparison with something else. And I know everyone can relate to this. By keeping this law in mind, you remain conscious of the fact that there is always multiple perspectives on anything that happens to you. Everything is neutral, and we determine the effect the event will have on us. trying to slip into these alternate perspectives can make you more grateful and can also show you where you can make improvements in your life. Wow, this law really, really helped me in so many different facets of my life, especially when I was first starting my spiritual journey, especially this quote by my all-time favorite spiritual teacher, Dr. Wayne Dyer. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I truly believe that we live in a benevolent universe, that life isn't happening to us, it's happening for us. And any challenge we have in our life is meant for us, not like punishing us. I don't believe like all of this, like the fear tactics of like the Christian faith that I grew up in, that we have to like repent for our sins, that we are sinful people. None of that shit. I believe that every challenge and every obstacle and every season in our life where we're facing difficult times is an opportunity for us to grow and for us to look deeper within ourselves and to have inner authority for ourselves. But I truly believe when we shift our perspective and truly see things in a different way, that it gives us the opportunity to almost like have a detachment of like the meanings that we put on everything. So if someone says something negative about us, we have the choice to activate it into our minds and accept it into our reality or reject it. And now, like during Scorpio season, I was so vocal about the election and how I was so excited that Kamala Harris was going to be the first female VP. And regardless of your political affiliation or beliefs, like just the fact that she was a woman of color being in one of the highest offices in the United States really got me excited. But with that, I got a lot of trolls for the first time. And it really made me depressed. Like it really affected my mental health. And I was like, oh my God, people like, some people wrote like, you have to die, or really hurtful things. And I remembered this law of relativity, that I have a choice in my mind to activate that in my mind and make it real for me, or I can reject it. So everything begins in the mind. And if I allow it to become true, then I accept that to be true for me and accept that belief to be my reality. Whereas I can reject that and say, no matter what people say, because everyone's going to have an opinion, not everyone's going to like you, you're going to get those trolls. And no matter how juicy of a peach you are, there's going to be people out there like, I don't like peaches. So it really is a choice in your mind to either reject or accept that belief that they have about you, which ultimately is the belief you have about yourself. So I just wanted to say that. And this law of relativity is like, you can feel like you're the most wealthiest person in you know, like in life, and you're like, man, I'm fucking killing it. But then you'll like learn about Bezos and Zuckerberg and all of these billionaires, and then you realize, oh shit, I'm not really that wealthy. This is the law of relativity, is that there's always going to be somebody to compare yourself to, and that you judge the meaning of your own life based on your perceptions and the way you relate to other people. So just remember that your entire experience of this world is colored by your beliefs. Everyone acts according to his or her own experiences and beliefs, which means that you cannot judge others' actions because you can never fully understand their history and motivations for speaking or acting in this way. So for me personally, like I if I'm feeling like I'm fucking amazing, I got my shit together, I'm wealthy, but then I compare myself to somebody online who I perceive to have the perfect life, has couple goals, is wealthy, looks beautiful, but I can't judge that because I don't have the full understanding of their history or even like their life. So why am I gonna compare my life to this person that I don't have a full understanding? Same way with like anybody, When you're on the spiritual path, it's so easy to get on your spiritual ego and your spiritual high horse, being like, I know this thing and this healed me and this helped me and you should do this and you should do that, and you're so 3D and you need to ascend to this next level and you need to not be sheep or shit like that. And again, no, stop that shit. Everybody unfolds in their own timeline. Everybody awakens in their own timeline. Trust me, I want everyone to awaken now, but that's just not how this world works. Um, Everyone has their own souls unfolding their own way in their own timeline, and they have their own history, and their soul has their own contracts of when they're going to do whatever they're doing. So we really have to try to stay in our own lane and just share wisdom and share knowledge, and not be in this colonized mindset of like, you need to do what I'm doing, you need to believe what I'm doing, you're all sheep, you have to follow me. And that's like the trap of this guru culture, of this like cult culture of basing everything on like, you don't know something, so you need to do this thing to follow me. And that's what we're trying to move away from. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, we got this. The law of polarity, number 10. When thinking about the law of polarity, the most important thing to remember is that absolutely everything has an opposite, and that it's the very existence of these opposites that allow us to understand our life. There is a duality to everything, and it's what allows us to experience life to the fullest and appreciate the good in the world. That is, like, for example, our fears and our dreams, love and hate, light and dark, north and south, feminine and masculine, the yin and the yang. This law gives us a powerful tool to change our mindsets. When we understand that there's a positive to every negative, we can choose to focus on the positive. And I'm not talking about toxic positivity here, where everything's always amazing and everything is love and light. I'm just saying that, like, when you do go through those harder times, when you go through challenges in your life, just know that in the other side of that, in the same moment where you're feeling, and I see a crow right outside my window, so this is like a synchronistic moment for me, because crows, I really do believe, connects us to spirit. When we can understand that when we go through challenging moments in our lives, and in the same flip of the coin, in the same plane of our perception, is the positive outcome, is the awakening that we're waiting for. Because not all life, again, like I said, is about suffering. It's about hate and fear and dark and this, like, heaviness. But it is also when you experience those times in your life that you appreciate the light and the love and the brightness and the happiness, like, so much more. And as somebody who's gone, my Mayan energy is Kame, which is the energy of death, and my number is 2, which is interesting because my I don't remember in numerology what it is, but my birthday is 20, which goes down to a 2, is of duality, is of experiencing life in these extremes of light and dark, of fear and dreams, of the dark side and the light side, of the yin and the yang. And so throughout my life, I've experienced the lowest of the lows and the highest of the highs, because I really do believe I was meant to learn those lessons so that I can help other people through the light and the dark. And I can tell you that whenever I've been through a dark period of my life, the only thing that I know for sure is that the light is just around the corner. that I appreciate those times so much more, because I know that it's almost like you have to savor those moments so much more, if that makes sense. So, yeah, the law of polarity exists to make you understand that every problem, regardless of the complexity, has a solution within itself, if only you wish to experience. So every challenging time, I believe, within that challenging time has the solution to your problem, if we are just willing to see it that way. And I often find that every challenging time always offers us an opportunity to deepen our understanding of ourselves and of our own power. Very much like Scorpio energy, like, and the tower in the tarot and the Pluto energy. It's like whenever your physical world disintegrates around you, and it's like, when everything just like literally pulverizes and you're like, I have nothing left, that outward physical reality forces you to look inward so that you grow that power within yourself, and then that power and that reawakening within yourself reflects your outer world, because again, as within, so without, as above, so below. Okay, number 11, the law of rhythm. Sometimes called the law of perpetual motion, the law of rhythm is focused on movement. In particular, it refers to the fact that all things come in cycles. You can see this in nature, in the seasons, and in the body's aging process. However, it equally applies to a person's life stages. And reflecting on this helps you gain perspective. Today's seasons may be good, but nothing is permanent, so enjoy what you have while it lasts. Alternately, perhaps you're in a negative part of the cycle right now, but it may be the very thing that prepares you for a prosperous change in the cycles next month. And this is exactly what I was trying to say with the law of polarity, is that there are cycles in our lives, and when you're going through the harder times actually prepare you for the next up level, the next initiation. And I loved how I forget which guest said it on my podcast, but and I'm sorry if I forget, but the main message was that sometimes when we're going through, like, let's say financial hardship, when maybe you have literally no money in your bank account and you've like maxed out all your credit cards, sometimes that is the initiation for you. That challenging time is for you to recognize your actual wealth inside, your inner wealth. And it's a painful initiation, because who wants to like not have money? Who wants to go through that time? But sometimes those points of being at rock bottom in our physical reality is necessary for us to remember our inner power, for us to prepare for the prosperous changes ahead. So if you're going through that time right now, just keep that in mind. So the law of rhythm, I love to think of this as the metamorphosis of a butterfly, and I talk about this a lot on here, as you all know. Actually watch a video of this, like when the caterpillar is just a caterpillar, and then it's like, oh, I want to be a butterfly, and then it goes into the cocoon, then it becomes a larva, then it goes into a butterfly. And actually the lifespan of a butterfly is very short. It's very ephemeral. It's like, I think, a month only. So I love the butterfly as a symbol anyway, like for life, that we go through these different stages of our life. We go through a point in our lives where we're like, I want to transform, I want to change. So you go through this like cocoon phase where you're like literally digesting yourself, and you're like liquefying yourself and dying out of a caterpillar. And there's that weird in between phase where you're just a liquid form, and you're like, I don't know what I want to be. I don't know what I want to form into. But you do, because you have this soul print of you've always being a butterfly. Like that's the expression of you. That's the soul part of you that knows, but like you, the ego, does not know. So then you're in this cocoon, you're going within, and then all of a sudden, like, you start forming into this butterfly, you get more information, you get more light, you get more like formed into your being. And then when you're ready and your wings come out, you get out of this larva and you fly. And I just love this metaphor in general because I really don't believe that this kind of phase happens once in our life. I believe in the grander scheme that, again, our soul, the energy part of us, doesn't die and it isn't reborn. It's infinite. It never dies. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So, like, in a sense, we are like butterflies moving through different skin suits, different forms. Like, I decided to incarnate in this lifetime as a Korean American woman, Laura Chung. But who knows? In a past life, I could have been a man or something else. But even in this lifetime as Laura Chung, I've metamorphosized. Is that a word? Metamorphosized many different times. I was an 18-year-old girl who didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. Then I was in my 20s and I was just partying and having a good time. And then, in my late 30s, I was going through my Saturn return. I went through a huge breakup. And then, like, we each go through these phases of life. Everything in existence is involved in a dance, a swaying and a flowing and swinging back. And not to, again, like, make anybody feel shame around this. And I don't think it's any of you, because if you're listening to this, then you want to evolve and you want to change and you grow. But if you're not changing and if you're not evolving and if you're just the same, then you're not actually unfolding into the highest expression of yourself. And with that, with change, this is the universal 5-year of change. With change comes that weird, awkward in between moment where you're like this liquefied caterpillar, where you like have no idea what you're doing. When you're like, where do I go? What direction am I going in? Am I on the right path? Am I on my purpose? What decisions I make? That's all normal, actually. That's all a part of the process, because the information isn't readily available to us, and that's where we have to practice our patience. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, I fucking hate that. And me too. When people tell me to be patient, when I'm going to an astrologer and a medium and they're like, be patient, I'm like, fuck you, I don't want to be patient. But again, there is a divine timing for everything. Like the butterfly cannot be rushed into being coming out of its larva cocoon. There's a divine timing for every flower that blooms, for every leaf that drops. Just look at nature for all of these things that I'm talking about. So life is a spiral. You might be going through a season of your life when your shadows, negative thoughts, or past is coming back. The universe is giving you another chance to heal even more, but now you have more knowledge and a different perspective. And when I learned about sacred geometry and of the spiral and of how life works, it just made me feel like, because I was going through all this healing with my ancestors and my parents, and all of this healing from my past love relationships. And like during last year of 2020, all of those things came back, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I thought I healed all that shit, but life is a spiral. So it's not just a cycle, it's a spiral where you go up. So maybe when you first did that shadow work, or when you first did that healing, you were at the bottom of this spiral, but now you're at another level up. And now the universe and spirit are giving you another chance to heal even more, to uncover even more of yourself. But now you have more knowledge, and now you have a different perspective. And now you can move through it even faster, because you're not starting from the bottom. Starting from the bottom, now we're here. So knowing that life is a spiral, and trust me, there is no end time to healing. There is no end game. It's a journey. And just knowing that every time you come back, you will be able to have more information, and it's not going to be the same as the first time. Okay, last but not least, the law of sexual energies. Now, this law is actually called the law of gender, but since I wanted to be more gender inclusive in my work, I renamed it the law of sexual energies. So the law of sexual energies has very little to do with biological sex. So it has nothing to do with male and female parts. It refers to our two major types of energies. You can think of them as masculine and feminine, as yin and yang, being and active, or anima and animus. We all have both energies, and we must find a way to achieve a balance between both types if we are to live authentically and happily. Think about the role each type of energy appears to play in your life and whether there's an excess or deficient of either. And my friend Sam and I held a circle about these sexual energies and how to harness them for creativity and for pleasure and for joy. And I really love talking about this topic because in Kundalini Yoga, this energy center is our sacral chakra. It's the place of our feminine, masculine, our yin and yang. It's the water element. It's our sense of abundance, our creativity. It's literally the womb space, both in women and men identifying parts. If you think about when a woman gets pregnant, she doesn't, I mean, yes, she does, is a participant in the act of sex, of the activity of sex, but she receives the seed from the male and she just receives and she grows the life form, she grows the baby. So the divine feminine, which is characterized by yin, which I'll try to use more gender inclusive pronouns, but again, this has nothing to do with sex, like female or male parts, is a space, darkness, chaos, soft, passive, potential energy, old, infinity in your subconscious mind. The divine feminine is a space, darkness of which all things are created and can never be created or destroyed. Like energy, it is the foundation of all creation. It is spirit. It comes in form and out of form and then cycles again. The divine feminine is the isness or the being of all things. The divine masculine is the yang, is specific, light, structure, hard, order, kinetic energy, creative, active, young, new, and your conscious mind. The divine masculine is the point of focus in this now moment that pulls the energy isness into form and brings it into manifest creation. The divine masculine is the act of doing, is the action or the doing. Now, this goes hand in hand with the law of attraction and the law of action. The divine feminine, the yin, which I believe in Western culture is not really accustomed to. It's not comfortable with being in the vastness of darkness, being in the vastness of infinity, of not knowing, of this unknown space, right? And it is that unknown space that is of all creation, that is vast. And if you think about space and the universe and what we talked about of the Big Bang Theory, is like this culmination of energy that started the whole universe is the divine feminine, is yin energy. And from that, as the container, the divine masculine as being the container for this energy can bring that into physical form, which is the act of doing. So a lot of people associate, and in Kundalini Yoga, I know this because the right brain is the logical brain. It's the brain of doing, it's the yang energy, and that relates to, I'm sorry, I have that mixed up. The left brain, the left side of the brain is the yang, is the doing, and that relates to the right side of our body, which is probably why our culture definitely reinforces like right-handedness and everything being on the right side, because it activates the left side of our brain, the left side of our hemisphere, which is more logical, it's more intellectual, it is more like science, it's more evidence-based, it's more like focus, structure, order. The right side of the brain, which is the yin, which is like the lunar side, is the more feminine side. And that is more of this like intuition, creativity. It's like you don't know why, but you just know why, you know, like that gut feeling. And so balancing the yin and the yang, the feminine, the masculine, the being and the active, the animus and the anima, will create more balance and harmony into your life. If you can take your divine downloads, your law of attraction rituals, where you get this inspired feeling, this sense of like, I want to do this, I have this intuitive feeling, mixed with the divine masculine, the yang, the action, man and woman and everyone in between, you have a serious combination for creating your own reality. Because at the end of the day, you can't just do one or the other. Remember what I said in the beginning, you have to do both. I'm just going to stop sharing. And the minute you recognize the power you have within in your own energy body, when you can, using your breath work, using your focused energy and intention, and understanding these universal laws, you can literally create the life of your dreams. You can create not just the life of your dreams. So I say that because when I say, just in layman's term, like your highest timeline, I truly believe that you have to be open to the unlimited, limitless potential of what spirit has in store for you. Because again, our human perception can only perceive from our past, from what we know, from our very limited way of seeing things. So if you leave it up to spirit, surrender to what spirit has in store, for what your higher self has in store for you, that is probably better than your wildest dreams, then you can align yourself to the highest timeline for the life that is meant for you, versus what you are so focused on what you want to create. So you have to have focused intention. You have to have, you have to know what you want, but you also have to leave room for spirit to take the wheel, for spirit to give you what you cannot even imagine in your very limited brain, in your very limited human brain. So, whew, I hope this helped you. I hope this inspired you. I hope you watch this again and again. Please let me know what you think. Please also make a checklist. Like, what laws are you using in your own life? What laws do you need to use more of? What laws do you feel like you need to make more intention into? I know for me, I need to make more of an intention of giving abundance, like knowing the principle of giving and receiving, because we live in a very reciprocity universe of like, you give what you get, you reap what you sow. So please let me know, DM me, email me, let me know how you felt about these universal laws. And I'm so excited to be sharing more of these kinds of topics with you, because again, these laws are universal, they're energetic. It's just beyond what we've as humans created as laws. So when you start using these laws for your life and living a more aligned and spiritual life, it is given. It is universal. It has to happen. So thank you so much for listening, for always trusting me in your journey. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful week ahead. Love you so much.